that's really, really like a powerful move right at the end, because then you just drop the question, is this something you think you can do? And then you would close the deal, typically. What's happening, Sales Ascender? Sean here, back at you with another high ticket tune-up. I hope you're having a great day. Today is Thursday, Thirsty Thursday. So let me know in the comments below, what is the refreshing, thirsty beverage of choice for you on Thursday? Today, Melissa and I got a chance to get a Starbucks. We've actually been laying off the coffee pretty hard, moving into the tea world. And so today we got a chance to go back and grab coffee. I just like mine kind of hardcore. I actually go with an Americano Grande, right? Just black, no sugar, no nothing, which is awesome. Monster kind of likes the more hot white, extra flat white, extra hot kind of thing with a little bit of milk and cream and sugar and stuff. So it's cool. But let's just jump right into it. I got a doozy for you today. Good lesson. Check this one out. Bill F. came at me with a great question. He said this. He said, Sean, how do I deal with a person who's intimidated by me coming in and working with them? Let me give you a little bit of context, right? So Bill is a actual repurposing person. So what he does is he takes people's content they've already created, and then he repurposes that in a fashion that they can use it on different platforms and so forth. And what he runs into a lot of the times when he gets in these sales conversations is when he's working with a team. So like if he goes into an organization and he starts the sales conversation and they have a marketing manager who's already doing some of the marketing content, or they're getting some of that stuff put out, they have this internal fear of, oh my God, this person's going to come in and take over my job. And that is a real thing. It happens in a lot of different companies. In fact, it even happens in our world, right? So in our high ticket agency, one of the things that we focus on is helping our entrepreneur build, hire, onboard, and train sales teams. So hiring, onboarding, and training sales teams is typically the responsibility of the sales director or the sales manager, or a selling manager, because there's a difference between a sales manager and a selling manager. Sales managers are better people managers, but can't really get the deals over the line as fast. Selling managers are those people that actually came up through selling and then figured out how to do the management. So either way, so a sales director, selling manager is typically that person that we go in with our high ticket clients, and then we'd start talking with them. And literally a lot of the time when we first got started into this world, we found that these selling managers, sales directors would be threatened by us coming in, and then they would go to the entrepreneur and they'd be like, I don't think it's a good idea. And they would be against the whole thing. And so if this happens in your world, couple of things that you can do here. So I'm going to share something that I learned from a guy named Blair Warren. He wrote a 27-word, one sentence, speaking about how you can literally persuade anybody and everything else. So when you're in this situation and you're actually working with somebody who might possibly feel threatened by you coming in and working with them, it's so very important for you to do the following things. Number one, you want to encourage their dreams. In our world, we're working with the sales director. We say, hey, listen, like, you're a sales director right now. Where are you trying to take your sales organization? And you help them to encourage their dreams, let them talk to you a little bit, and they're going to tell you where they want to go. Same thing if you're doing the repurposing content, you're talking to a marketing manager or something like that. Like, hey, where are you trying to take your marketing group? What are you trying to accomplish? So we help them encourage their dreams, right? Next one is we justify the failures. So that's number two. So what we want to do is say, hey, listen, like, you just got into this new role of sales director. It's kind of a newer thing for you. And it's okay that you might stumble. Like, understand that, like, when people get into this role, they might stumble just a little bit. So justifying their failures is a great thing to do. Yes. Next thing is we want to put their fears to rest. So even in the conversation when we're speaking with a high ticket client, I'll say something like, hey, listen, like, I kind of get the feeling that you feel a little bit fearful that we're going to come in and maybe like ramrod or take over or something like that. And I just want to make sure that you understand that that's not the thing that we're here to do. Rather, we're here to empower you and make you look like a legend to your entire organization, right? So that's the third thing I do. So it's, I allay their fears or put their fears to rest, right? The fourth thing we need to do is confirm suspicions. How do we do confirming suspicions? Well, then I would say something like, yeah, you know what? We're actually going to arm you with all of the frameworks that you're going to need. And we're going to give you the tools so that you can actually accelerate your sales department. And I start speaking in that language of confirming their suspicion of like, what are these guys really going to do? I feel like they're going to give me tools. Yes, I'm going to give you tool because that's a suspicion that you had. Same thing in the marketing world. I just don't know what that verbiage would actually be. And then after you confirm their suspicions, the last thing is you can, or you can choose not to do this one, is throwing rocks at their enemies, right? And how I do that is very simply saying, a lot of people that get started with us and we have these conversations, they get to this place where they're like, oh my God, this is exactly what I need. And then they say, well, it's going to be too expensive or this or the next things, like whatever the case. And those people that actually say no and move on, here's usually what happens. And I paint this really grotesque picture of a sales director going into this organization and trying to continue to run it and basically bang their head against the wall. And it's that one thing that I always tell, especially when I'm speaking with an entrepreneur, I would say something like, if you keep trying to do the same thing and expect a different result, that's like the definition of insanity. This is why we're talking right now. And I know that we can solve your problem. Does that make sense? And literally that last piece of just throwing rocks at somebody who's going to say no to you, or throwing rocks at what you call an enemy, that's really, really like a powerful move right at the end, because then you just drop the question, is this something you think you can do? And then you would close the deal typically. So that's exactly how I deal with a person who's intimidated by me coming in and working with them in that capacity. So if you're doing repurposing, or you're doing something like that where you're speaking with an organization who feels maybe possibly threatened by you coming in and working with them, those are the 5 things that I focus on doing. Let me repeat them so you know them very clearly once again. So when this happens to you, the first step is to encourage their dreams. Ask them to plant the flag. Where are they trying to take whatever it is they're doing? That's the first step. The second thing is you definitely want to justify any failures that they may have had in the past. Like, hey, it's not your fault that this is happening, right? The next one is you're going to put their fears to rest or allay their fears by saying, a lot of people are threatened when I come in and work with organizations because of this, and the next thing. And that's a good one to say. And then the fourth one is to confirm their suspicions. Like, you're probably thinking I'm going to come in and give you a bunch of framework. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to do. And then lastly is throwing rocks at people that have said no, or throwing rocks at enemies. So those are the 5 steps that I use when I have this exact thing pop up. It's a great objection to talk about. And when you just focus on that, by the way, you can actually go read Blair Warren. He wrote a 13-page PDF on those 5 steps. That's where I learned it from. And I love the guy for that. And it's really helped me to overcome this exact objection. And I hope that it gives you some clarity in how that actually will happen in your world as well. So again, remember, encourage dreams, justify failures, put their fears to rest, confirm suspicions, and throw rocks at enemies. That's the secret to answering this question. And I hope that helped you for today's high ticket tune-up. It's Thursday. That means I get to see you on next Tuesday. So please have a safe and wonderful weekend, and we will talk at you next time.